Good morning, good morning.
Grand Rising.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
That's good. I'm great.
Okay.
I'm great. Can't complain.
Can't
man.
complain.
Life is good.
Yep, life is good.
Life is good.
Yep.
So we have a topic, a very interesting topic today.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with the question, labels/boxes.
Right.
Are they a prison?
Yes, good. Great topic, because so much is about labels and who people are and identities. And I think it's very layered, because labels can be, it can be clarifying, it can be polarizing, where it does kind of put you in a box, or it can be empowering. It depends on how we use it.
Absolutely.
It depends on the context and the intention behind it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like labels are restrictive.
Right.
So people be like, I don't like labels.
Yeah.
Don't label me.
Yeah.
So I wanna kind of flesh that out.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm Mahogany.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
What culture
is the value. What are some labels used to describe you?
Good question. You are so funny. I should have known that you was gonna ask me that, but I didn't think about that. So anyway, labels to describe me, I would say, this kind of feels like the discussion we had about culture. Mm-hmm. Culture you subscribe to. So I would definitely say, for one, I'm a woman, a black woman, an entrepreneur, a leader. Would that be a label?
Yeah, that could be a label.
That could be a label. A teacher. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Have you ever heard any labels that you felt were used for you that didn't fit?
Yes.
Like?
A man. I remember a wannabe man.
Okay.
A wannabe man. A wannabe man. And I remember,
I can relate.
Yeah, some years ago, somebody said to me that my ex was like, my mom was like, I feel so sorry for Aisha, because, she really wants to be a man. And she was like, what? No, she don't. She's like, she don't? Like, where you get that from? So it was the height of the whole gender transitioning thing and more people doing that. So she just assumed that I also wanted to do it.
That was a confusing time. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a little confusing, but it's a confusing time.
Yeah. What about you? What are some labels? Like, how would you label you? I didn't say I'm lesbian. Why?
I don't know why.
You know why? Because I guess it doesn't come like my intimate relationships don't come front of mind when I describe myself. Yeah. I think about who I am in the world.
That. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I have labels for myself, and then I have labels given, such as leader. The obvious ones, I'm a woman, a lesbian woman. But also, I'm gonna take it a step further, when you're dealing with signs like...
Oh, man, Gemini, yeah.
I'm a Taurus.
Yeah.
People call me stubborn.
Yep.
And I don't receive that.
Yeah.
I don't receive that at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a label that I own. It doesn't fit. I understand why people believe it fits. Stubborn means that regardless of what, you're not changing your mind.
Right, yeah, right.
But the regardless of what is the issue for me.
Right, it's not regardless of what. It has to make sense.
It has to be, regardless of what. I'm grounded.
That actually came up last night, and somebody said that to you, and I was like, that's not who she is, though.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're stubborn. It's like,
that's
not really, no.
Nah. I understand why it's used. However, I am someone who will change my mind if your angle makes sense. If the conversation makes sense.
And if you can subscribe to it.
I can subscribe to it. So
I want to say something. So that label too. So I'm a Gemini. So people say I'm two-faced. Hell no. I'm not two-faced. Two-faced, no. We have feelings like everyone else, right? So my feelings about certain things may come from my experiences. So I may feel a way, then I'm like, I'll experience that, maybe I change my mind. I don't know. But in terms of two-faced, it's crazy. You can't trust that. And I'm a trustworthy person.
The verbiage used for Geminis is two-faced, but two-faced in its regular sense of the word has always been somebody who is untrustworthy and kind of contradicts itself.
Not the twin.
what I've experienced, because you're a Gemini, my mother's a Gemini, I've come up around Geminis.
Right.
It's not a two-faced thing. My mother is someone that actually can be very counted on.
Right.
Right. But the mood switches is what they're applying that.
So that's what I was just talking about. So the mood switch, it comes from what's going on. It's things going on. So my mood is gonna switch. I'm thinking about something, I'm upset, and I'm thinking about something else, and I'm happy.
So it's things that people outward might not know is happening.
It's happening.
You.
It's happening within. Yeah, inside.
Got you.
Yeah, so.
Got you. That's clarification.
Right.
But that's what I'm talking about, right? Like these labels. There's labels that are given to you sometimes because it's something that people see, right? They see acting out, and they're like, okay, this belongs here.
Right.
Or sometimes it's a lack of information that creates the label.
Right.
And so when it's that, I understand why people are like, I ain't subscribing to that. That's not me.
That's not me. Right. There's a note that I wrote here about using labels to understand your experience, not define somebody else's. You know what I'm saying? So you can't tell me I'm this way because of your experience. You just gotta name your experience. You can't put that on me and say I'm this way because of a Taurus you dealt with, or I'm this because of a Gemini you dealt with. It's like, just name your experience. You can't put that on me, just like I'm gonna name mine.
I agree. But what I will say to that is we all utilize our experience for future reference, right? So when we start seeing certain patterns, we equate it to something.
Right.
So it is a natural ability to say, I dealt with this amount of people,
right,
and seeing these outcomes,
right,
so this might be the outcome.
Right.
However, we have to be strong enough as individuals to be able to say, yeah, I understand that's your experience, but
that's not me, right? Not me. Because some people overly use certain things, and we have like hot words, like everybody is a narcissist and a gaslighter.
I'm happy you brought
that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, everybody's not a narcissist and everybody's not a gaslighter. All of us have little pieces of certain things that don't make you this person.
Like, who the hell we think we are, diagnosing people with
illnesses? Right, exactly, with illnesses, right.
I get it.
Yeah.
We live in America where the culture here has created very narcissistic behavior.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you're going to see a lot of behavior that can coincide with narcissism often.
Right. That don't mean you're full on.
And that takes me to like labels such as like liar, cheater, different things like that, right? People have cheated once and never cheated again.
Right, so you're a cheater.
Are they automatically a cheater?
That's a good one. Let's talk about it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
People have lied, but haven't made a habit of it. Does that make them a liar? Right. Right. So let's have that conversation.
Right. So what makes you that? So you feel like repeated behaviors makes you this person because you have these behaviors, then then it becomes part of your character because you practiced that for so long. So then you become that.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's because you practiced it for so long, right? Like, I think we are our accumulative action.
Right. Cumulative action.
So all of us have negative activity, all of us have positive activity.
Right.
But our activity is on a scale. Some of us do more good than harm, and some of us do more harm than good. Right.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, our actions are a direct connection to our mindsets, who we are, how we think, our belief systems. And so that shows up in our actions.
Right.
Someone who does not believe that cheating is okay is not going to make a constant out of that.
Right.
Now, the same with lying. Same, you know what I mean? A constant comes from someone who thinks that it's okay to do something.
That's right, and then you continue to do it. And then I think that's where labels come from, because whether you say it out loud or not, we label ourselves. You know what I mean? And then I think like the way we label ourselves impacts our neural systems. It becomes our behavior. So that's why labels are important, and really, we're not saying like, I'm for labels as they relate to understanding yourself, as it relates to self-awareness. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm a leader. I'm a leader. So with that comes, you know what I'm saying, responsibility, and I have to show up in a certain way, I have to do certain things. I'm a teacher. I take pride in that. And being able to give back to the younger generation and having those conversations with them. So with that comes how you carry yourself, how you see yourself. So even if you don't want to call yourself a liar, you know if you're a liar.
Yeah,
if you know you call yourself a cheater, but you know you're a cheater. You know what I mean? So the way, whether you label yourself publicly or not, I feel like you know who you are. And sometimes we secretly label ourselves.
Absolutely. I think that words are important. I speak about that every episode. Labels are just another word, right? But it's an identifier. So I look at labels as identity, right? And because it's identity, I'm not taking on one that doesn't truly fit.
Right.
But I'm gonna take on all the ones that definitely do.
Right.
Why? Because in order for me to connect with others, which is the
Exactly.
point of this,
Yep.
they need to know who I am.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so it's not wrong
Right.
for you to ask me who I am.
Right.
It's not wrong for you to see a pattern and question who I am.
Yep.
But it is absolutely up to me to say, okay, is this me or not?
Right.
And I think the dope part of being able to be open to that lets you know like how you're translating
Yeah,
into
to
the world.
others. I love
Yes.
that. Yeah, because it's really important to know how you show up, because we talking about intent, because we always, one of the things we talk about is intention and impact. You can tend to be this kind of person, but who are you really to people? How you impacting them, how you landing with them, that's important. And then, so it's good to know how people see you and label you, you know what I mean? Labels are a way to connect to particular audiences and gain support.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Because when you package that, and you package certain things, it's like, then people are gravitating to you because they feel you're like-minded, because we're the same group. We're in the same group. You know what I mean? So it's not something to run away from.
And that's what's important. That's important, right? In order for us to connect, we need to know our people.
Yep.
And like you said, with products, right? If I want canned goods,
Right.
it has a label on it so that I know exactly what's in the can.
Right.
If I get a can of beans when I was looking for a can of carrots, I'm a little pissed off when I open this can. That's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What I'm
Yeah.
gonna do with these damn beans? I wanted carrots.
You wanted carrots,
right?
right.
So
right.
Labels are important as identifiers, but the wrong labels can be frustrating.
Yep.
I don't like meeting people who believe themselves to be a specific label, and so they're telling you who they are, and then as you're experiencing them, they are a whole other
Completely
thing.
opposite, yeah.
And it's like, I didn't sign on for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People who make assumptions that someone's homophobic because they don't accept the label of gay. So you be like, you gay, and they like, I'm not gay.
You got a problem with gay people?
You got a problem with gay people.
Right.
And it's like, no,
Yeah.
he's just not gay, or
Right.
she's just not gay,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Right. Or,
you know what I mean?
or for gay women, so what you got against men? Nothing.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
like nothing.
You know what?
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Especially a gay woman who looks like us.
Yeah.
We're automatically men haters.
Right.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, like what I
have
love
a-
men. I'm just like,
I
so
had
many
a
men in my
dad.
family, right.
Brothers,
Yes.
cousins,
Yes.
male friends.
Right.
It's a whole lot of men that I love. I
Love.
just don't want to sleep with y'all.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
just don't wanna sleep with
Can you be
y'all.
okay with that? But some people are not comfortable in their actual labels as well. And then our identities and our labels change. We're not saying, oh, this is your label now at 17, so this means at 35 you got the same thing, or you at 40 is not the same you at 60. They adjust, so it's not really meant to be boxes. It's just who you are at the time.
We are our behaviors.
Yep.
Right? So,
Yep.
so if you can change your behavior, you
Yep.
can change how you're perceived or your titles
Yep.
or your labels,
Yep.
right? And so I actually had a conversation recently with a young lady who was very bothered by my dialogue. I can't remember what the post said. I just remember that it turned into, I'm great, but I could never say I'm better than anyone. I don't compete with others. And I said, well, I don't compete with others either, but I can acknowledge when I'm better, right? So she was like, well, that would be competing. I said, no, that's acknowledging. I said, for you to use the term great, you understand that there's levels. Great is better than good. Someone can be good at something, but if I'm great at it, I'm better. And I can acknowledge that. I said, the only people I've ever heard that have a problem with being able to say that are people who don't really believe they're great. There's no way in hell that I'm gonna make all the greatest choices and you make horrible choices, and I come into this world and impact it in a beautiful way, and you impact it in a horrible way, and I don't think I'm a better human being.
I hear what you're saying. But what I was going to say is it sounds like she's saying, but what you just described it, is the whole of a person. Like, oh, yeah, I'm better than this person, I'm better than that. And I always subscribe to the thing of, I'm not going to say I'm better than nobody because we could all end up in the same situation. She may be coming from that.
I understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
It's never a conversation I'm having where I can't understand the point of view of the person. I just don't sign on to it. We just had a whole conversation just now about the fact that things change. So we're not speaking of who you are tomorrow. We're speaking of right now.
Right now,
exactly. There's no reason to run around saying
that,
But understand that if you can go in the room and say, yeah, I'm not better than nobody, but uncomfortable with saying you are better than somebody in another room, that tells me everything I need to know about your self-esteem.
Not true.
Absolutely.
Nah, I don't think. I don't think that could tell you what all you need to say about somebody's self-esteem.
I can go in any area, any group of people, and say I'm not good at this, and they're fine with that. The moment I say I'm great at this, you ain't have to say that. Why you not telling me I ain't have to say that when I say I'm not good at this? That's when it's all acceptance. Because people want you not to be great.
Can I say something? That is true.
Appreciate
No, people want you not to be great, or not to be greater than them.
Or you not to acknowledge your greatness.
Your acknowledge your greatness. Yeah, they see it.
They know it. That's why when you say it, it bothers them.
But in terms of what you're saying, like I can acknowledge where there's definitely people that work for me that's smarter than me in certain areas, and I hired them because of that. And they're better than me in certain areas because that's not my strong suit, and that's fine. But I know where I'm strong at, and I can do this and I can do that.
That's my point.
But
you're making my point.
You're
making my point. This is the thing, right?
But also, wait, just real quick. But the whole thing is, like you said, is like the point of being so cocky to be like, nah, I'm definitely better than you. I mean, I got to be trying to insult you to say that.
Certain things are unnecessary.
Right. It's not meant to be verbally said. It's meant to be understood.
I don't think absent of anything, which means the same way I can say I'm great, I can say I'm not great. Right? And the reason that I walk so confidently is because I know the entirety of me. I don't just know the great parts of me, but I know the shit that other people don't see. I identify all those things. So every time I walk into a room, I'm able to identify who I am in that room. Who I am is who I am everywhere, but who you are in a room is different. Why? There's a different value system in every room you go into. Right? There is. If I go into a room with a group of people, there could be people who don't speak as well as me, or there can be people who speak way better than me, right? There could be someone who looks better than me, or I could be the best looker in the room, right? Everything varies according to the group, right? But I understand this. So when I walk into a space, I'm identifying who I am in this room. Going back to the labels, right? The greatness is one of the labels that I give myself. And I make sure that I live into it, like you were speaking of, something that you live up to, something that you give yourself so that it gives you some level of accountability. And the more I say I'm great out loud, the more people are looking for me to be, looking for me to be anything other than great. So I gotta keep it tight.
And I just want to bring up that point again, the ways we label ourselves, it becomes our patterns in the way that we carry ourselves. And it's really important to watch it. And also, like you said, the labels that you put on yourself, make sure you can live up to that. Or you just living a fraudulent life, you're not gonna feel good about yourself because now you just fronting. You acting like you this and that and you not that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you lying to yourself, you lying to people, and you just don't feel good at night.
You gotta be everything you say
you gotta be everything you say you are. For example, women who say that they're lesbian women, but they are not. You know, and women that look like us that say that they're lesbian women and they're not, which gives men permission to try to say what's up and try to be flirty and stuff like that, and it's very annoying and it's disrespectful actually. You know what I'm saying? It's insulting. You know what I mean? Because that's like for like a straight man, you know, who may not appreciate if a man comes up to you and tries to holler at you. You know what I'm saying? When maybe it's very clear that you're maybe a straight man, maybe you got a girl in your arms, maybe that you're not giving him no kind of energy that's saying, come try to talk to me.
You don't remember many moons ago, before our friendship split, we was walking down Harlem at night. I don't remember where we was going, but some dude tried to talk to us. We had this exact discussion. They hiding behind this facade and they're not being who they are completely. And then we have to deal with the residue of
right,
that.
and we got to. And so the thing about that is, like, I have to say that same way how people will be struggling with their sexuality and living, let's say, you know, a straight life, but they could be many of the other labels. They can, you know, have other desires and, you know, whether gay, bisexual, whatever. But there's the same thing sometimes with, I would say, with gay women. Like, maybe they thought they were, you know what I'm saying, and lived that way for a while and then realize that they're not. And then it's hard to come out the closet again, I guess, and be like, you know, actually I'm straight or actually I'm bisexual because I'm known as this label. So sometimes people leave themselves stuck in these labels because it's hard to transition out. The reason why I brought it up is because the impact it has on my life. The other day I'm just chilling. I was with my girl, and then she talking to some old guys from her block, so we just standing there talking to her cousin and stuff, and he was like, yo, who Freckles? I was like, I'm right here. You can ask me who I am. Why are you asking somebody? I'm like, you can ask me what's up. And he was like, oh, what's up? What's up? And he gave me a pound, but then I'm like, I looked at his eye, I'm like, oh, he trying to, I saw a glimmer, and I'm like, and then I took my hand away, because I'm like, oh, you trying to get close. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, you strong, and all that. But it's like, yo, like, yeah, but the reason why he did that is because of what's going on.
Yeah. What's his name had a conversation about that?
Drewski?
Yeah, I don't like that content is life now. Like, people don't know the difference between a skit and content versus the real world, right? So people get on those little shows and do content. They don't be gay, but they be representing gay people. And then people respond to us in real life as if we're moving like that. And have the labels that you want to live up to, and make those the priority. Don't make the labels that other people give you your priority. And when you know who you are, you also understand your ebbs and flows. So you know when transitions are happening, and you're accepting of those transitions. So who I was yesterday and who I am today. Right? I know I'm a gay woman. I'm very clear about that. However, I am also someone who was known in my past to be a hothead and violent. I've had these conversations on other shows, right? I am not hothead and violent anymore. When people try to put that on me today, I don't allow it. Was it a real thing back then? Absolutely. I acted in a way that made that label fit. Today, I don't act in a way that makes that label fit. And I am cool with stating that now. I understand where you're coming from because if you met me back then, or you know the stories from back then, but today those stories don't live.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know? I also find that when someone doesn't like the strengths of you, they try to label you stuff to downplay.
God. You think you all that, and put the corny, offensive stuff on there. I've gotten that. Like, people don't even know me. It's like, you know, because I thought you was stuck up. What? Stuck up? Like, what is that? What are you talking about?
I just really be wanting to know how people define that. Because when you meet someone on a glimpse, you haven't experienced them at all to come to that conclusion. It's wild. Right?
Or I look mean. Not mean.
How do you define that? Because if being conceited means having some level of self-worth,
then I'm not.
You know what I mean?
I'm not,
Because when you hear me speak, I'm very certain about myself. And so that comes across as, oh, she thinks she all that. I do,
yeah.
I do know. So I'm not mad at you saying she thinks she all that. I'm mad at the way you saying it like
it's a problem.
Right? Why shouldn't I? I think you should too.
Right.
That's the whole point of, you know, us having these discussions in a teaching form is because it's like, yo, I'm not saying I'm standing on this mountain and I want to be here alone. Come join me.
It's very important to be careful of the labels that people put on you, and that and like you were just saying, that you don't subscribe to those, especially if they're not true or they're outdated. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, we dim our lights, sometimes intentionally to make people feel comfortable.
I've done that.
You know what I'm saying? I've done that.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I've absolutely done that in the past, especially in relationships. That's a whole nother lifetime.
Yes, a whole nother lifetime.
It's a whole nother lifetime. But I have done that. And it's a sorry place to be.
It is. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a braggadocious person, because I'm not. I'm mad. I'm cool. I'm laid back.
What
so
does
I'm not.
Braggadocious mean?
Braggadocious. I'm not talking about certain things, because some people like, oh, you bragging, but it's like, no, really, you're hating. Because because I'm not bragging. I just
That's
mentioned
why I asked
something.
you, what does it mean?
Yeah, so braggy, how would I, let's look it up.
Okay.
Let's look up brag. Brag meaning, okay. So being boastful, to show off, to gloat.
Okay.
To gloat. So I think that tells us a lot. To
Yeah,
really
yeah,
lay it
yeah.
on thick.
To overdo it.
Overdo it.
Overdo it.
Overdo it. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. You crazy. My business been popping. Like, last couple of years, man, I've been, listen, I'm telling you, none of y'all niggas can't fuck. Now, if I'm just playing and I'm playing with my brothers or something, I'm like, shut up, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's different. But to be that person, no. Actually, what bragging is what we talking about in the reverse, is to make other people feel small. You know what I'm saying? To bring yourself up, you make other people feel small. The same way someone who wants to feel bigger will try to make you feel small. It's the same thing. You know what I mean?
We're not saying that you run around and just tell everybody everything that you're doing.
Yeah, right. Especially if they can't relate, because certain things are for different circles.
You know
too.
what? I'm happy you said that.
Mm-hmm.
In our culture, because we are the have-nots of the haves in the world.
Right.
There is a very big culture of us wanting to show off more. Wanting to, have our accomplishments felt and seen more, which I don't think is a negative thing when not done in a braggadocious way. Right. Our goal should never to be to stunt on each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Our goal should be to teach each other how to fish.
get it. Exactly.
You know
there
what I
we
mean?
go. Yeah, and somebody said that to me too. It's like, no, because I was stunting. You know what I mean? Because that's what you're supposed to do, stunt. And it's like, no. No. That's
that goes back to what you just finished saying. Making others feel small to make yourself feel big.
That means
right?
you must be. That means you must feel pretty small. Actually,
Yeah,
you must
yeah,
actually
yeah.
feel pretty small.
In order for you to do that, that's where that comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel lack, and so you have to fill that lack with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And filling that lack with something is making other people, or making
you feel like you have to show other people what they lack.
Yeah.
Bringing this back to labels, there are labels. I think labels are a great thing when they are identifiers, when they describe something in its realest form, because it gives us an understanding of one another. It gives us the ability to connect or not connect. To some degree, there's certain things we know we don't want no parts of.
Right.
Going into a corner store and they got these new drinks in the fridge, amongst the rest, it looks pretty. The packaging is dope. So you think you want to try it, but you go to the label and you see it got some stuff in it you don't want. You put it back.
Right.
This is what labels do for us as people as
That's
well.
right. Yeah, it lets us know these are not my ingredients here. This is not my group.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that's very good.
Is there any last words you want to give before we close out?
What's the identity that's attached to the labels that you're giving yourself? So we're encouraging good labels that bring about self-awareness, and the ones that just hurting you, real nigga, bad bitch, and all that kind of stuff. What does that mean? Be careful about how you label yourself, because how you label yourself becomes your behavior. You know what I mean? And your behavior becomes your reputation. So also be mindful of that.
This was very fruitful. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
I'm Mahogany.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
With Culture
is the value.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Comment, share, and
We
we'll see
appreciate
you
it.
next time.
Peace.